Now on to the Middle East. Hezbollah says its media chief has been killed after an Israeli airstrike in the centre of the capital, Beirut. Mohammed Afif was one of the few remaining public faces of the group whose leadership has been wiped out in a series of Israeli attacks. Meanwhile, officials in Gaza say Israeli airstrikes killed at least 40 people on Sunday after a strike on an apartment building in the town of Beit Lahia. Our BBC Arabic correspondent Saeed Shahata told me more about Hezbollah's media chief, as well as what his death means for the group.
Mohammed Afif, one of the founding generation of Hezbollah in 1980s, and he was very close to Abbas Musawi, who was the first Secretary General of the Hezbollah, who was assassinated in 1992 by Israel. Then he was close also to Hassan Nasrallah, who was assassinated also by Israel. So he was the face, the public face of the Hezbollah, who was like giving press conferences. So Israel military said Mohammed Afif was the chief propagandist for the Hezbollah. He was involved in activities against the state of Israel, so they need to get him out. But there is other people were killed when the airstrike, hit multi-story buildings. So there's other people were killed. So it's a setback for Hezbollah. But since Hassan Nasrallah was assassinated, as Hezbollah still firing rockets, so all of that weakened Hezbollah. It's a setback for Hezbollah. It's make disruption for Hezbollah. But still, they have like very complex structure where there is many lines of commands and leaders. So if someone like disappears, there is another one. So when Hashim Safieddin, who was supposed to be the potential successor of Hassan Nasrallah, was assassinated, Naim Qasim came to be the leader of Hezbollah. So there are many lines. So the complex and of structure of Hezbollah will lead that Hezbollah will carry on. So it will weaken them, but it's not going to be the end of Hezbollah.
Let's talk about the attacks on Sunday in northern Gaza. What more can you tell us about what happened there?
It was an airstrike on a building in Gaza, and there is about more than 40 people were killed, according to the civil defense and the health ministry in Gaza. They were, as Israeli said, was targeting Hamas fighters, and this shows again, after more than a year with Israel air force superiority and all of these troops, they couldn't get rid of Hamas and the fighters. They come from the tunnels is still working. So it's devastating on the humanitarian level, because there is many organizations, and the latest one of the Human Rights Watch saying that forced displacement of people of northern Gaza, it's very serious. There is like dire humanitarian situation there, and there is need to stop that because it's affecting, and there is accusation of Israel they want to build a permanent buffer zone in this area, but the Israeli military responded saying, the orders the evacuation in order to protect civilians because they're fighting the Hamas fighters. In addition to that, it's not permanent evacuation, but it is, they will come back at the end of the war.